Josh Hasten here, Israel Uncensored, on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. It is Monday, the 20th of August, 2018, the 9th of Elul, 5778. Hope you're doing well in your part of the world. Don't forget, you can always get in touch with me via email, josh at thelandofisrael.com. On Facebook, it's Joshua Hasten, and on Twitter, at Josh Hasten. I am here in Gush Etzion with unbelievable views from the community of Efrat. I'm looking to the north. Let's see if we can see Jerusalem on a beautiful Sunday morning. Yes, you can in fact see Jerusalem from here, from the porch. You can see western Gush Etzion, the beautiful scenery here. I'm actually with my good friend Avi Abelow. He is the CEO of 12 Tribe Films. He runs the Israel Video Network and also IsraelUnwired.com. And I wanted to speak to Avi today because we are on the verge of a big event here happening in Israel in just a few days from now. If you are not aware, Avi Abelow runs a competition every year, a video competition, in order to highlight the beauty of the land of Israel. It is called the Adam and Gila Milstein Family Foundation Inspired by Israel Video Network Video Contest Prize, and the ceremonies to be held here coming up. This is the third annual ceremony to be held to highlight and showcase all of those out there in the world of pro-Israel advocacy making a real difference through the use of videos showing the beauty of the land of Israel and its people, showcasing wonderful, amazing things happening here in the land of Israel. So on the cusp of this video award ceremony, Avi, welcome to Israel Uncensored here on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
It is always a pleasure talking to you, Josh. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
A pleasure to have you as always, Avi. So where are we now in the process? We're coming down to the wire here. The third annual Adam and Gila Milstein Family Foundation Inspired by Israel Video Network Video Contest Prize Ceremony. What's going on?
Well, it is very exciting that this is already our third year of running this contest. And like you know, in Judaism, the third is always very special. That means it's a chazaka. That means it's something that has become permanent. So Be'ezrat Hashem, with God's help, that this third year should really ensure that this becomes permanent, or who knows what's going to continue on. But fabulous initiative. I'm so happy and blessed to be a part of. That we had 40 videos submitted from all over the world. You had people from Israel, from America, from Canada, from Australia, from Germany, from the Philippines, from India, from Hong Kong. Really, people from all over the world, Jews and non-Jews, who put their passion and love for Israel into videos. And thanks to the contest, those videos are seen. We had a voting stage that everyone voted. Hundreds of thousands of views for these videos, and it's all about inspiring people about Israel. User-generated content. Some of these submitters are professional. Some of them are amateurs. Some of them have no skills whatsoever in video, but yet because they love and have such a passion for Israel, that they take the time and make some videos. Some are better than others, but the bottom line is their passion for Israel comes out, and their message for why they love Israel and why Israel is so important and so inspiring comes out. So the voting stage has ended. For 1 week, people all over the world were voting for the videos, and now we're in the judging stage. We take the top voted videos and we send them to a panel of judges, all of different backgrounds, different mindsets. Some of them include Gila Milstein of the Milstein Foundation, and then we have Hillel Fuld, a tech enthusiast, writer, entrepreneur here in Israel, as well as someone who's involved in fighting BDS, Ido Daniel. He runs digital media for one of the offices fighting BDS in this country. We have a whole slew and a whole. We have David Suissa. I don't know if you're familiar of the Jewish Journal. I think he's the editor of the Jewish Journal in Los Angeles. So again, there's just some of the names of the judges involved in looking in each one of these top voted videos, and then afterwards we aggregate all the scores that the judges give these top voted videos. And then we have an awards contest that we're going to be having either, we're still finalizing the date. I'm waiting for an answer right now, but within the next 2 weeks in Jerusalem at Ammunition Hill. Everyone is invited. Tickets are free. It's a fabulous, fabulous event, and we will be presenting awards to the winners of the contest. We are giving out $20,000 in prize money. Again, this is the Adam and Gila Milstein Family Foundation contest. And of those $20,000, the grand prize is $8,000, and then there are 18 other cash prizes that we give out. And we're trying to reward the best videos, the most inspiring videos. And there are those videos that might not get the most votes, but there are staff awards that, regardless of how many votes they get, the staff gets to pick who for them to be winners, because they deserve it, even though they didn't win by the voting stage. And it's really an exciting time period, an exciting ceremony we're going to be holding.
So let me just get this straight. At this point in the competition, the voting is closed. So people who are involved and who are voting and who are watching these videos online, they have a sense of, I don't know, the top 5 videos, the top 10 videos. They know at this point, the breakdown in terms of who qualified for the finals, and then the judges then go ahead, and regardless of scores, they then make the deciding factor in deciding who's first, second, and third place. Is that how it works at this point?
Close. So first of all, everyone listening right now, right? We're on radio. I'm used to live video. Everyone listening can go to the IsraelVideoNetwork.com website and click on the link for the video contest gallery and see the videos in the contest. So you're able to see the top voters already. It goes down in terms of order of the top votes of the popular contest, the voting contest. The voting part of the contest, so you could see the number 1, 2, 3. They're all there. 2 pages of 20 videos on each page, and those are the videos we then send to the judges. And the judges are given this year. They're given the top 11 voted videos, which you could see what those are. Those top 11, and they are then deciding which of those top 11, according to scoring, are going to get the grand prize of $8,000, or the first prize of $4,000, or one of the $1,000 prizes, or one of the $250 prizes, based on the aggregate of the scoring of all the different judges.
Now, are you allowed to tell me today which video you like best, or would that influence the decision-making process? Do you have a favorite? And if so, can you share it? And if you can't share it, I understand. Is there one video that sticks out in your mind? Whether you can reveal it or not, which one that is, that's up to you.
First of all, even if I tell you what my favorite is, it won't influence the judging. Each judge is off on his own. He's not listening to me, and they will be judging according to what they believe is best. But I won't tell you what I believe the best is, but I will tell you some of the ones that stick out in my head that are a little different, a little unique. First of all, you have one that really should touch everyone's heart. About it's like a mini documentary, believe it or not, about a girl who graduates college, and instead of continuing on enjoying the American lifestyle, she decides to make Aliyah. So that's like a mini documentary, very, very well done, very well produced, documenting that little journey of hers. So that sticks out in my mind as one of the videos that are a little different, a little unique. Another one that's very unique is about a student who comes for the year, and basically, in a sense, documenting his not necessarily documenting, but following through his thinking process of how he changed through his year of coming to Israel and studying and connecting with his strengthening his Jewish identity here, studying Torah here, being in Israel for the year. Again, fabulous. A different type of video. There's another one about a man, of how visiting Israel changed his life. It wasn't necessarily Israel, it was actually tefillin, but also Israel is part of his life story, and how he basically grew up as a Jew, not really connected with his Jewish identity, and then he turned and changed his lifestyle to be a religious person, and his family is now religious. So these are 3 that stick to mind that have very, very unique stories. Not necessarily are they the best, but they are one of the very, very unique stories that everyone should definitely watch, and you should go through all of them. Again, some of them are fabulous, some of them are not as good, but still, even the ones that are not as good, what inspires me about them is here you have a regular Joe Schmo person, not necessarily with any skill set in video making, but they so love Israel, they're so passionate about Israel that they're putting the time to make a video showing the world how much Israel inspires them. Whether it's a Filipino worker who lives in Hong Kong showing how much he loves Israel and wants to come live here, or whether it's some German TV producer who put a video together also showing how Israel inspires him. Not all of these other videos are of the top video quality, but they are fascinated just that, again, these people took out the time to sit and invest the time to make a video showing all the rest of us of how much they are inspired by Israel, that the rest of us should, that's really the bottom line. Israel is the most inspiring story of the 21st century. Hands down, there is no more inspiring story than the Jewish people's return to be sovereign in our homeland. And that's what this is all about, and that's what my work is all about, together with my team. At 12 Tribe Films, with Israel Video Network, with IsraelUnwired.com, in addition to showing the truth about what's going on here and advocating for Israel about the truth and what's going on here with our enemies on a day-to-day basis. It's trying to inspire people with the true story of how inspired each and every one of us should be, that Israel exists, that the Jewish people exist, that we're together back in our homeland after over 2,000 years of exile, and that we are a blessing to not just to ourselves, but to humanity, for all those who take the time and sift through and look through the headlines and separate the fact and truth from the lies that are spread about us.
So we are going to get to those headlines in just a second, because there's some news coming in as we're broadcasting. But I want people to have the opportunity to see the videos and to sign up for the ceremony itself. Avi, how can people watch the videos, and how can they sign up for the ceremony? Date to be determined, but it will be happening in the next week or two.
So, first of all, everyone can watch the videos very simply. You go to IsraelVideoNetwork.com, and one of the links on the website is for the video contest gallery. You just click on the link, and it'll take you to the pages with all the videos of the contest. So, again, go to IsraelVideoNetwork.com and go to the link for the contest gallery. To get an invitation, very simply, first of all, everyone who is a subscriber to our daily videos automatically receives an invitation. So on IsraelVideoNetwork.com, you could sign up to subscribe to our email newsletter. So that will let you receive the invitation when we send it out later today. It's going out today, please God. And also you'll start receiving our daily video newsletters to be inspired by Israel, get the truth about Israel from videos here in Israel. Otherwise, you can just go to my Facebook page, Avi Abelow, and check it later today. The link will be posted, and you just have to go to the link and sign up, and free tickets. It's a fabulous event, very inspiring location this year. It's usually at the Tower of David. This year we're having it at Ammunition Hill, and very, very inspiring place. So you can go to my Facebook page later on today or tomorrow.
So check that out. Get yourself your tickets. If you haven't seen the videos, go check out the amazing videos there for this year's third annual Adam and Gila Milstein Family Foundation, inspired by Israel Video Network Video Contest Prize and the ceremony. So, Avi, before we go, I just want to get to a little bit of news and get your take on this. Reported here by Ynet and several other sources, Israeli IDF soldiers near the border with Gaza came under fire this morning. This is in the edge of the northern Gaza. No injuries reported. The troops, I'm translating here from Hebrew to English if you can't tell, the troops did not sustain any injuries, and the IDF returned fire. So here we have a official, unofficial, what have you, so-called ceasefire on the Gaza border, and yet you still have the incendiary kites and balloons coming in over the last couple days. And you have now an exchange of fire between Hamas and the IDF, Hamas initiating firing at our troops and our troops responding justifiably. So your comment on the situation in the South, and in just a few minutes on the show we'll talk about the residents of the South this past Saturday night held another demonstration in Tel Aviv. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But just your whole take. I mean, we had several hundred rockets fired only just, what was it, last week? Yep, or a week and 2 weeks ago? I mean, and now you have another, I guess, break in the ceasefire. I mean, the ceasefire doesn't exist, right, for those who think that it does exist. It doesn't really exist. Your take on the situation on the southern border, Avi, before we let you go back to work.
Yeah, well, very, very interesting. I'm gonna tackle this from two from two different angles. Angle number one, Israel should be responding as forcefully as possible to actually stop this continued terror from Hamas in Gaza, and also to show as a sovereign country to ensure its deterrence. It is just, we in a sense, we become a laughingstock by allowing hundreds of rockets and over 3 or 4 months of daily fire balloons and kites and condoms being flown in the air and destroying our land. It's just, that's not how a country is able to defend itself or show any deterrence towards its enemies. So Israel should be responding as forcefully as possible. And if you ask me, they should be destroying Hamas totally. And if you ask me, there's only one solution. It's for us to go back into Gush Katif and take it over in such a way where it is safe for us, safe for our soldiers, safe for Israelis. But there is no other solution rather than Israel being physically present in Gaza to stop the terror from Gaza. Because the lesson we learned from the lesson I've learned over these years, anytime Israel gives up territory, that territory turns into rocket launch terror land against us. Any territory. So the only place we're able to have full security is where we are in control of that territory. So I'm fully supportive of going into Gaza and taking it over once again. If we're not going back in to take it over once again, then yes, any military incursion is just temporary and it will just bring about another war, and any lives lost in that military incursion are basically lost stam for no reason, because we're just going to have to go into again. So either we go into it and take care of it once and for all, or we don't take care of it, which right now the government is doing. All right, so first of all, we should be doing something. And for all those people who think, oh, you're crazy, we have to be out of Gaza. No, I have a whole solution for Gaza of how there won't be any terror in Gaza anymore. It's actually pretty simple. You let everyone run away and immigrate and let the world resettle them all over the world like they do for all other refugees around the world. So basically the only Arabs who remain living in Gaza are those who are willing to live peacefully. Anyone who raises their head with terror against us either gets killed, thrown in jail, or we throw them to the world and say, take care of and resettle them somewhere else. They can't live here anymore. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the solution for Gaza. Tachlis, what's going on? What's going on is Israel is doing everything in its power not to have a military incursion, not to go to war. And there are a couple of reasons for this. There are a couple of reasons that, again, my assumptions for why this is happening. I'll give two assumptions. First of all, basically the Israeli government, Netanyahu as the overall decision maker, he might be thinking as follows. He goes, if we go into Gaza is an Iran proxy war. Hamas is an Iran proxy. If we go into Gaza, that's going to give Iran the reason it needs to then allow Hezbollah, another proxy, to start shooting its 150,000 missiles from Lebanon into Israel and start activating whatever units it has in Syria to attack us as well. That is where the real danger is. 150,000 rockets from Lebanon that can attack anywhere in Israel, and whatever forces Iran has in Syria right now, all of a sudden we have a three-front war against Iran, the deadliest foe that we have in the Middle East, in the world. And I imagine Netanyahu was basically saying, I don't want this now. For whatever reasons, he doesn't want this now. And Gaza is Gaza is a prick. All the problems we have in Gaza, whatever terror rockets, whatever kite balloons, fire balloons, even though it is making millions of Israelis or hundreds of thousands of Israelis go down to their bomb shelters, it is a prick compared to the pain and destruction that will happen if Iran enters this war and starts attacking us from the north, from Lebanon and Syria. So basically, for whatever reasons, Netanyahu is trying to push off any military incursion into Gaza in order not to have to deal with an all-out three-front war against Iran. All right, so that's point number one. So if anyone gives credence to that and gives any credibility to that, then what Netanyahu is doing, it makes sense, even though our deterrence factor goes down into the toilet. So now what's the second aspect? Another aspect you can be thinking about here of why Netanyahu is deciding not to do a military incursion is because something big is going on. You have a Trump administration, and on the one hand you say, oh, but Trump would support us going in and he won't be like Obama and hold back weapons and rockets that we need in order to go into any offensive. That is true, but what Trump is working on right now, his team with Kushner and Greenblatt, and U.S. Ambassador David Friedman and U.S. Ambassador to UN Nikki Haley, they're working on something much, much bigger right now, trying to change the rules of the game. Whether it's trying to get rid of UNRWA, trying to get Arab refugees from 1948 no longer considered refugees, whether trying to get the world on board to then treat them as regular refugees, therefore to resettle them around the world and not to be for the world to keep on giving money to UNRWA in order to teach these kids that they're supposed to kill Jews and go back to their homes that their grandparents or great grandparents ran away from in a war that their people started against us, that we defended ourselves back in 1948. And this whole peace deal of the century, whatever it is, it might be that America is working on something big, that Netanyahu is thinking, you know what, or America told Netanyahu, listen, don't rock the boat. Because anytime Israel goes in for a military incursion, no matter how justified and right we are to do it and to end Hamas and to make Hamas hurt, there are plenty of civilian casualties, and it can bring about much diplomatic pressure, international pressure on Israel, and America saying, listen, we know you want to fight back, we know you have every right to fight back, but please hold off. We want to try to push forward this plan to fundamentally change the situation, and that might hurt you going in militarily, might hurt whatever big thing we're working on, and therefore hold off, don't do it, but when you have to do it, and when that day comes, we'll support you and you could do it. I don't know. These are just my analysis of looking at what's going on, because it makes no sense whatsoever that we have not gone in or done anything really serious militarily. It makes no sense whatsoever unless you also think about the fact that unfortunately many heads of the Israeli army today have gone through brainwashing by New Israel Fund organizations and foundations, educational brainwashing, basically saying that civilian injuries of the enemy are more important than protecting the lives of our own soldiers in the IDF. So you might think, oh, our top brass don't want to go in. Well, I'm sure that exists as well, but when we do have to go in, they will go in, and they will fight, and they will make Hamas pay. But so that's my overall situation. So it comes with a bit of frustration that we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing, but also with a bit of understanding of the greater picture of why Netanyahu might be deciding what he's doing. My biggest claim, my biggest complaint with Netanyahu is that he's not really explaining to the people why he's deciding why he's deciding not to go in militarily. I think there would be much more understanding and support for him and his government if he would be more communicative about why we're not doing what everyone knows should be done that he should be doing.
There you have it, a in-depth analysis on the situation down on the southern border with Gaza. As we started the conversation, an exchange of fire between Hamas terrorists and IDF soldiers this morning. We'll monitor the situation, of course, here on all of our programming on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. So keep yourself in tune with what is going on. That is all the time we have for now. We're going to come back in just a minute or two with more news here on the program. Thank you so much to Avi Abelow, CEO of 12 Tribes Films. He runs the Israel Video Network and IsraelUnwired.com. Don't forget about the third annual video contest, which will be happening here in Jerusalem. Looking at a beautiful Jerusalem from Efrat. It's unbelievable how you can see into Jerusalem so close.
On a clear day, we can even see the Temple Mount.
Yeah, it's actually pretty clear. I'll have to go out on the porch and check that out. Avi Abelow, thanks for your time today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is Israel Uncensored on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. Josh Hasten here. Get in touch with me during the week. Josh at thelandofisrael.com. On Facebook, Joshua Hasten. On Twitter, at Josh Hasten. Quick break, and we'll be right back. Thanks, Avi.
Thank you, Josh. Always a pleasure.
The question is, why are the Jews there in the first place? The Jewish people have been yearning to return to their ancient homeland for a long time.
The Yishai Fleischer Show, the voice of a new generation of pro-Israel activists.
And there's only two kinds of minorities in the Middle East, armed or unarmed.
Inspiring minds to think differently.
That jihadism doesn't just attack Jews. It attacks Christians, and it mostly attacks Muslims.
Inspiration, spirituality, and politics.
So first and foremost, this country is here to defend Jewish people and to live in its ancestral homeland.
Listen to the Yishai Fleischer Show every week on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
And we are back. Josh Hasten here, Israel Uncensored on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. It is the 20th of August, 2018. Thanks again to Avi Abelow for that interview. Let's get to some news here in Israel. This was front page of the Jerusalem Post on Sunday. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas calling on Palestinians to, quote, keep the ground aflame with popular resistance against Israel. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, the PA, calling for violence. There's no other way to look at this statement without coming to the conclusion that he would like to see a continuation of violence carried out by PA terrorists against Israel. These comments came as part of his remarks in Ramallah to the PLO Central Council. Remember, the PLO, a terror organization. Abbas said that any funds earmarked for the Gaza Strip should be channeled only through the PA government, in reference to the situation between the PA and Hamas. With regards to Palestinian-Israeli relations, he said the relationship of our people with the Israeli government is based on a conflict between our people and our state, which is under occupation, which he said, and the force of occupation. Our direct goal is the independence of the state of Palestine. If this is their direct goal, why did they reject a state in 2008 and in 2000 and 2001? The goal is not a state, people. The goal is to destroy the Jewish state. And in reference to his comments about funds earmarked for Gaza, the coffers of the Palestinian Authority must be low. That's why they're in need of additional funding. That's the way I interpret it, as Mahmoud Abbas and his sons getting rich off this whole so-called peace process. The council, the PLO council, also praising what they called heroic Hamas-sponsored, what they call protests along the border between Gaza and Israel. PLO council calling on Palestinians to step up and expand, again, the, quote, popular resistance against Israel and support for BDS. So you have a terror organization calling for BDS, calling for violence against Israel, and yet somehow we're still waiting for a peace plan from the U.S. administration. I'm worried, folks. I'm worried. Anything that involves negotiations with Mahmoud Abbas, if in fact that's the case, let's not speculate. I mean, the PLO, the PA, they're already speculating. Maybe we shouldn't speculate. Everything's been great so far with everything the U.S. government has done and said up until now, the Trump administration. Let's see what happens. But a little bit nervous, I'll admit. Switching gears, here's a brilliant idea, right? Brilliant. Also reported by the J Post, the protection of Palestinian civilians could be improved by the deployment of UN-mandated armed forces or unarmed observers, a beefed up UN civilian presence, or expanded UN Assistant Secretary General Antonio Guterres wrote in a Friday report. That's what we really need. UN armed troops protecting those who are protesting violently along the Gaza border. So what do you want? U.S. troops and IDF soldiers going toe-to-toe? This is a genius idea. I say that sarcastically here from the head of the UN. I mean, this is just a recipe for absolute chaos and disaster. Adding arms, putting more arms in the hands of the UN to defend those who are trying to infiltrate our borders, those who this morning fired on IDF soldiers. This is a disaster waiting to happen if this plan bears fruit. Of course, the UN, as the UN often does, skews, or rather has a morally skewed compass. The UN General Assembly and a resolution adopted in June condemning Israel for excessive force, but failing to mention Hamas. In that vote, 62 countries voted for a U.S. amendment to the General Assembly resolution that would have condemned Hamas outright, while 58 voted against, 42 abstained. The resolution, which would have condemned Hamas, failed because it did not garner a majority. In other words, the UN will not condemn Hamas, just condemning Israel for excessive force. That was a resolution passed in June. Instead of suggesting ways to protect the Palestinian people from Israel, said UN Representative Danny Danon, the UN should instead hold the Palestinian leadership accountable for endangering its own people. The report's suggestions will only enable the Palestinians' continued rejectionism. This Danny Danon, Israel's ambassador to the UN. I mean, we talked about the situation this morning, continuing the so-called ceasefire with fire, really, against IDF troops. On Friday, just several days ago, 2 Palestinians, Arabs living in Gaza, killed and others wounded along the Gaza border. More tension on the border, more kites, more IEDs, Molotov cocktails thrown towards the security fence. Just chaos down there. You got to love the ceasefire, right? So-called ceasefire. What a joke. The residents of the south, southern Israel, protesting once again this past Saturday night. Hundreds of residents calling on the government to make their security a priority at a demonstration in Rabin Square in Tel Aviv, waving colorful balloons symbolizing the vast swaths of Israeli land burned by those balloons and kites. Protesters staging the Tzeva Adom code red, falling to the ground. Hundreds of protesters out there. One of them said, "We want a government and cabinet to bring us peace and quiet for 1,000 years, not agreements for 2 months." So they want a long-term insurance of their security and not some phony baloney so-called ceasefire, which isn't really a ceasefire, as we saw again from this morning. The jihad continues on Friday. An Arab in the old city of Jerusalem. You see the video. You can go online and watch the video. Tries to stab a border policeman, an Israeli border policeman, and he is killed there. And of course, the family, this man from al-Fahim, this terrorist, comes and tries to murder an Israeli policeman, and the family says he is mentally ill. How many times have we seen this excuse? He wasn't in his right mind. He's mentally ill. He's got problems. No, he didn't really try to do anything. And then criticizing the Israeli response, did the mayor of al-Fahim, saying that Israel, the policemen, murdered this mentally ill man. Look how they paint this. Look at this propaganda and these lies. Okay? This guy was clearly in his right mind, clearly trying to murder an Israeli, and thank God only light injuries, while the terrorist, the jihadist, was killed. How many times are they going to have this excuse? The guy was mentally ill. Unbelievable. The whole situation is mentally ill. It's crazy. A little bit of anti-Israel propaganda news. If you saw last week, a lot of the international news outlets, the so-called mainstream media, accused Israel of blocking mail for 8 years to the Palestinian Authority. Some headlines here. I'm seeing the screenshots. Palestinian mail blocked by Israel arrives 8 years late. You've got mail, finally. Israel allows 10 tons of post into the West Bank. These are different mainstream media headlines. But if you go to the Elder of Zion blog, and I've met Elder. Actually, I got to give him a tour. I had the privilege of giving him a tour just a year or so ago, maybe a little bit more. The truth of the matter is, from somebody by the name of Tomer Ilan, again, this was covered by the New York Times, BBC, NBC, Guardian, Independent, Daily Mail, and others, making it look like Israel was withholding 8 years of mail from the PA. The full story is the following. As Elder of Zion on his blog, it explains, number one, as agreed in the Oslo Accords with the Palestinians, international mail to the PA must be sent via Israel's postal service. mails delivered to the PA from all countries in the world without any problem except mail from Arab countries that boycott Israel's postal service and send it to Jordan instead. So the Arab world decides they're not going to follow protocol. They don't recognize Israel. They're going to send their mail from the Arab world to Jordan instead. Jordan was not authorized to transfer the mail to the PA, so any mail that was sent via Jordan got stuck. This is a decision by the Arab governments to go via Jordan. That mail got stuck, which is their fault, which is the fault of the Arab countries, which is the fault of Jordan. Point number 4, Israel, Jordan, the PA negotiated that since 2009 to allow Jordan to transfer mail to the PA. In 2016, an MOU was signed, and while there hasn't been a full agreement, according to Haaretz, if we can rely on that source, Israel allowed the 10 tons of mail stuck in Jordan to be delivered as a goodwill gesture. Okay, that's all that whole story is confirmed by the PA. All right? So Israel was willing to let mail come in from Jordan as a goodwill gesture, even though all of the terms of the understanding weren't negotiated. Jordan held the mail, didn't let it into the Palestinian Authority. The media blames Israel with images of wheelchairs not arriving for those who are in need of them in the Palestinian Authority, and the world runs with it and paints Israel out to be the bad guy, accusing Israel of withholding 8 years of PA mail. That is a fabrication. As I just explained, what the story is there. Blame the Arab world, blame Jordan, not following protocol, not willing to recognize that Israel, and these are supposed to be our peace partners, people like Jordan, okay? I know we have an agreement with them, but the PA and Jordan, not willing to follow protocol, and would rather not get their mail than recognize the legitimacy of the Israeli Postal Service. That essentially is the story here, yet not the way it was reported to the mainstream media. We're going to end on some good news here today. Israeli gymnastics superstar Linoi Ashram on Sunday won a second gold medal and a bronze at the Rhythmic Gymnastics World Championship Cup in Minsk. A day earlier, I believe it was a day earlier, she broke a world record in what is called clubs handling. I'm not sure. I don't understand rhythmic gymnastics at all. I apologize for that. But she won the all-around phase of that competition called clubs handling. But this is, and she set a world record. So again, Israelis doing amazing things around the world. I apologize. Don't get the sport, rhythmic gymnastics, but nevertheless, those who understand it and do, maybe you can explain it to me. But congratulations to Linoi Ashram, a true, wonderful, a hero and or true wonderful representative of the people of Israel and the state of Israel, taking gold, despite, I'm sure, all different types of pressure that Israeli athletes and many others have to encounter in different competitions around the world. I don't see anything here about a lack of sportsmanship as we've seen in the past where people refuse to shake hands of competitors who are Israeli. We saw that in the judo competitions time and time again. But bottom line in this case, we'll finish with some good news here today. Congratulations to Linoi Ashram for setting world records, taking home gold medals, doing wonderful things on behalf of the state of Israel and its people. That is it for today, folks. That is going to wrap up today's program. Israel Uncensored here on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com for the 20th of August, Monday, 2018. Get in touch with me during the week. Josh at thelandofisrael.com. On Facebook, it's Joshua Hasten. On Twitter, at Josh Hasten. Thanks again to Avi Abelow for the interview. Most importantly, between now and next week, please God, when we speak again on Monday of next week, everybody out there in the wonderful world of ours, be safe. Shalom, shalom from a beautiful, beautiful day here in the land of Israel.
And we are faced with a huge challenge here. I'm worried about the rift and the split.
This is Gil Hoffman, host of Inside Israel Today, here on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com. I interviewed the next chairman of the Jewish Agency and current opposition leader of Israel, Isaac Herzog.
But I preferred doing it because of the enormous challenges facing the Jewish people and my feeling that I have a unique opportunity to leave my mark when it comes to the well-being of the Jewish people.
Tune in to Inside Israel Today on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com to hear this interview.